Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the story of a colossal battleship that plagued the Allies throughout World War II, the mighty Tirpitz. This European behemoth, weighing in as the heaviest battleship ever built by the Germans, was more than just a ship. It was a thorn in the Allies' side. Commissioned in 1941, the Tirpitz had one goal: to disrupt Allied shipping in the Baltic Sea and cut off vital supplies reaching the Soviet Union. But this wasn't a walk in the park. For nearly 4 years, the Tirpitz became a relentless target for both British and Soviet forces, who launched numerous air and naval attacks in an attempt to sink it. But the Tirpitz proved to be a tough nut to crack, surviving over 20 missions before finally succumbing to a large-scale British operation in November 1944. But the story doesn't begin there. The Tirpitz's construction was part of a larger plan by Nazi Germany, specifically Hitler's vision to revitalize the navy, known as the Kriegsmarine. This ambitious plan aimed to create a powerful naval force capable of challenging the dominant fleets of Britain and France. However, the Bismarck-class battleships, including the Tirpitz, were not built in a vacuum. They were a direct response to similar programs undertaken by other European powers, highlighting the complex web of naval rivalry that existed prior to World War II. So, buckle up as we delve deeper into the fascinating story of the Tirpitz, from its construction amidst the rising tensions of the 1930s to its dramatic demise in the closing years of World War II. Let's see what made this battleship such a formidable force and how the Allies finally managed to bring it down. The mighty Tirpitz, a thorn in the Allies' side. Europe's heaviest battleship. The Tirpitz, a colossal battleship built by Nazi Germany, was a major headache for the Allied forces during World War II. Clocking in at a staggering weight, only slightly heavier than its sister ship Bismarck, it was commissioned in February 1941. Its primary mission: to disrupt Allied shipping in the Baltic Sea and prevent supplies from reaching the Soviet Union. A persistent target. For nearly 4 years, both British and Soviet forces launched numerous air and naval attacks to sink the Tirpitz, but over 20 missions proved unsuccessful. Finally, in November 1944, a large-scale British operation involving over 100 aircraft managed to achieve this long-sought goal, although the Tirpitz put up a fierce fight before succumbing. Germany's rise in naval power. The Tirpitz's construction was part of a larger German rearmament program initiated under Hitler's leadership in the 1930s. He aimed to revitalize all branches of the military, including the navy, known as the Kriegsmarine. The goal was to create a powerful naval force capable of challenging the dominant British and French fleets. A response to rival powers. The Bismarck-class battleships, including the Tirpitz, were a direct response to similar battleship programs undertaken by France and Italy. Despite signing the Washington Naval Treaty in 1922, which aimed to limit naval arms races, several nations, including Germany, chose to disregard these limitations. The treaty allowed for modifications, and all major powers exploited these loopholes to bolster their fleets. A new era for the Kriegsmarine. In 1939, Hitler officially unveiled the Tirpitz, Europe's heaviest battleship at the time, during a grand ceremony. It was named after Grand Admiral Alfred von Tirpitz, a prominent figure in the German Navy during World War I. This event also served as a platform for Hitler to unveil Plan Z, an ambitious plan to significantly expand the Kriegsmarine and challenge the British and French navies for supremacy on the seas. Both Hitler and Admiral Raeder, the head of the Kriegsmarine, envisioned a powerful fleet comprising 10 battleships, 4 aircraft carriers, and other supporting vessels. The Kriegsmarine: ambitious plans and harsh reality plan. A fleet for the future. Despite the ambitious Plan Z, calling for 15 pocket battleships, 250 U-boats, and over 100 destroyers and cruisers, achieving this dream fleet was a long-term goal. Experts estimated its completion by 1948, a timeline that did not match Hitler's expectations. War spoils the plans. Hitler, overconfident, assumed Britain and France wouldn't declare war after the annexation of Poland. However, September 3, 1939, proved otherwise. The Kriegsmarine was far from its intended combat readiness when war erupted, leaving Germany ill-equipped for a conventional naval battle against superior enemy fleets, facing reality with limited resources. Admiral Raeder had only the Bismarck and Tirpitz 15-inch gun battleships, 3 11-inch gun pocket battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, 2 battle cruisers, 34 destroyers, and around 60 U-boats at his disposal. Despite the limitations, the Kriegsmarine was determined to fight, with the Bismarck and Tirpitz becoming symbols of their resistance. The mighty Tirpitz. A closer look. The Tirpitz, weighing an impressive 42,900 tons, boasted a length of 251 meters, a beam of 36 meters, and a draft of 10.5 meters. Powered by a powerful Brown Bavarian Company geared steam turbine system, it reached speeds exceeding 30 knots. Firepower and armor. The Tirpitz packed a punch with 8 15-inch guns in 4 turrets, each capable of firing over 35 kilometers. These turrets, named Anton, Bruno, Caesar, and Dora, were heavily armored with 360 mm thick steel in the front and 220 mm on the sides. Secondary armament and anti-aircraft defense. Beyond the main guns, the Tirpitz sported 12 5.9-inch guns, 16 4.1-inch guns, and numerous smaller anti-aircraft guns throughout its hull. Notably, the anti-aircraft armament was later upgraded to 58 guns, reflecting the growing threat of aerial attacks. While the Tirpitz was a formidable battleship, it ultimately met its demise in 1944, highlighting the challenges the Kriegsmarine faced throughout World War II. The mighty Tirpitz, a life of near misses and final demise beyond reconnaissance and torpedoes. The Tirpitz wasn't just equipped for recon and anti-submarine warfare, it also carried 4 R-196 seaplanes. Additionally, one of its final upgrades involved 8 above-water torpedoes mounted on either side. Impenetrable armor. The Tirpitz boasted a formidable defense system. Its main belt comprised a staggering 320 mm of thick steel, further bolstered by 2 decks of steel, 50 and 100 mm thick, respectively. Early encounters and elusive maneuvers. Before its official commission in 1941, the Royal Navy unsuccessfully attempted to sink the Tirpitz during its Baltic Sea trials. Following the Bismarck's demise in May 1941, the Kriegsmarine opted for caution, primarily utilizing the Tirpitz in Norwegian waters, close to shore and under the protection of German defenses. First taste of combat and missed opportunities. In January 1942, the Tirpitz sailed for Norwegian fjords with a crew of nearly 2,000 sailors. However, the British, having deciphered the Enigma machine, were able to track its movements. Its first combat experience, a February 1942 maneuver to lure British ships out of the English Channel, proved unsuccessful compared to the challenges that lay ahead. A string of attacks and changing strategies. March 1942 saw the Royal Air Force launch a series of unsuccessful attacks on the Tirpitz, resulting in significant losses for both sides. After these failures, the British shifted tactics, attempting to deploy frogman squads with torpedoes, but they ultimately failed to reach their target. A solo outing and British response. In September 1943, the Tirpitz led a task force to attack an Allied weather station in Spitsbergen, marking the only time its main 15-inch guns were fired. While successful in destroying the installations, the British retaliated weeks later with X-craft submarines aiming to plant mines. Despite breaching the defenses, only 3 managed to reach the target, and all were destroyed. However, 2 mines caused damage to the Tirpitz, forcing it to return to Norway for repairs. The relentless pursuit continues. The relentless pursuit continued in April 1944, with over 100 British aircraft attacking the Tirpitz, managing to land hits at the cost of lives and damage. Further air attacks in June proved unsuccessful, showcasing the battleship's resilience. The fall of the Colossus. Determined to finally eliminate the threat, the British Bomber Command deployed tallboy bombs, known for their effectiveness against concrete and reinforced steel. In September 1944, a first attempt left the Tirpitz surprisingly intact. However, a subsequent strike damaged its rudder and shaft, forcing the Germans to build sandbank defences around the battleship to prevent capsizing. Operation Catechism, the final blow. On November 12, 1944, Operation Catechism was launched. Lancaster bombers managed to evade detection and unleash tallboy bombs on the Tirpitz. This attack, causing a massive explosion and ammunition detonation, finally proved fatal. The ship capsized within 10 minutes, with only 82 of the 1,200 crew members surviving. Salvaging a legacy. It took the British over 20 attempts to sink the formidable Tirpitz. A joint Norwegian-German effort for salvage operations began in 1948, taking almost a decade to complete. This marked the end of the Tirpitz, once a symbol of German naval might, but ultimately a testament to the relentless pursuit and evolving strategies employed by the Allies during World War II. Thank you for watching.